Their last report before we went on the air was that they were about 150 miles outside of Gaza, and they did indeed get intercepted. That broke right before we went on the air. We have some videos of that. This is the first one.
The IDF is here right now. Please sound the alarm. We are being surrounded by their boats. Yes, this is an interception. A war crime is happening right now. Please sound the alarm.
And here's the second.
They are intercepting our boats right now. Please stay alert. We have no weapons. We are no threat. We carry only humanitarian aid. We are 12 people on board. There are ships surrounding us right now. So please make sure to be loud. We again impose no threat. We have no weapons. We carry only humanitarian aid to a starving population. 2 million people. Lift the siege, end the blockade, stop the genocide now. Now, so that we don't have to do this. Demand your governments do this so that we don't have to do this.
So we were worried about this all day. This was shared out by the Freedom Flotilla from Sky News. Israel's defense minister vows to stop aid boat carrying Greta Thunberg from reaching Gaza. Israel's defense minister has threatened to take whatever measures necessary to stop an aid boat carrying Greta Thunberg from reaching Gaza. The climate campaigner, 22, is one of a dozen activists aboard the Madeleine, which set sail from Sicily last Sunday on a mission aiming to break Israel's sea blockade. The activists have said they plan to reach Gaza's territorial waters as early as Sunday to deliver humanitarian aid. Now, it doesn't look like even without the interference, they would have reached it today, given that they were still 150 miles out as of this afternoon, even with the time difference. Rima Hassan, a French member of the European Parliament who is of Palestinian descent, is also on the boat, which is operated by the Freedom Flotilla Coalition. She has been barred from entering Israel because of her opposition to Israel's policies towards Palestinians. Only democracy in the Middle East, folks. Only democracy in the Middle East. So these are the volunteers. You can see a lot of people from France, but you also have Brazil represented there, Spain, and of course, Greta Thunberg there. This is someone who's actually in Gaza with his family, put out this video.
Gaza seaport. We are here, waiting for the ship Madeleine, a ship of freedom and solidarity. To all the free people around the world, come, sail to Gaza, break the siege, stop the genocide. Gaza is bleeding, but we are still standing. To everyone on board the Madeleine, we are waiting for you. Free Gaza now.
I mean, that's amazing. Just amazing. The whole place is like a moonscape to even have people at that hopeful remaining still there. So this was tweeted out by their account, by the Freedom Flotilla account. So this is what Israel Katz, the Israeli Minister of Defense, put out in a tweet. I instructed the IDF to act so that the hate flotilla, it's a hate flotilla, Madeleine, does not reach the shores of Gaza, and to take any measures necessary for this purpose. To the anti-Semitic Greta and her friends who speak Hamas propaganda, I say clearly, you should turn back because you will not reach Gaza. Israel will act against any attempt to break the blockade or assist terrorist organizations at sea, in the air, and on the land. And one sharp-eyed tweeter pointed out, to break the blockade. Funny how they are suddenly admitting to the blockade of aid, right? I thought there was no blockade.
Yeah, I thought they were letting food back in.
They're letting food back in. That is an amazing example of how Zionism is wokeism. right? It's a hate flotilla. You're speaking against us. You're hateful. You're hateful.
Right.
You're discriminating against our group. Any criticism of anything that we're doing is hate. It's hate. It can be no other because we are a protected class above critique. Holocaust.
Yeah. And
Right.
according to these guys, Hamas is already hoarding all the food, so they wouldn't be
Right.
feeding them. They'd be feeding the civilians.
Right. So this was something that was actually shared by one of our longtime viewers, Dwayne Vogel. Shout out. A reminder that you can go from Person of the Year to Anti-Semite of the Week if you want to feed starving children. Welcome to Zionism. Exactly. And on the left, she was honored in 2019 as Person of the Year. On the right, Greta Thunberg labeled Anti-Semite of the Week by Jewish advocacy group.
Forgive. It's. I mean, it.
Yeah,
What do you
her,
say? I mean,
Ms.
it's just
Rachel. I mean, they've just the other day we did a story where somebody said at this point, very much like a lot of political propaganda we see in this country, they're not even trying to talk to people outside of their base.
Yeah, no.
This is just for the believers, because who the hell is going to read that and go, yeah, Greta Thunberg, dedicated anti-Semitic.
Well, it's crazy how the only criteria for being labeled an anti-Semite is having empathy for the Palestinians. Like, it's not like people who say anti-Semitic shit on the regular don't ever get that honor. I mean, you got to have Daryl Cooper out there somewhere saying, man, what do I have to do? I got beat by Greta Thunberg this week. And Miss Rachel, God damn it. Right?
Yeah. Well, remember, I just had an old Zionist friend come at me recently. And, they're all the same, man. Like, what kind of people would celebrate the death of children and carry a coffin through the streets? Like, they get very curated information.
Yeah.
That is basically has all the political depth of a Rambo movie.
Right.
Their vision of the Palestinian people are just cartoon Nazi villains with no redeeming qualities, who, the liberal view is that they need to be re-educated.
Right.
They need to, they're victims of evil leaders. That's the liberal take.
Right.
The illiberal take, which is increasingly on the rise, is wipe them all out. So here's something that one of the crew members put out earlier in the day.
On board the Medellin to break the siege of Gaza and to create a people's humanitarian corridor. And we just received some very weird news. That according to our tracker, we are no longer 162 nautical miles from Gaza, which is where we are. But according to him, we are on Jordan Airport. And we know what that means. When they start jamming our communication, when they start messing with our devices, it means that they are preparing for an interception or an attack. And we all heard the Israeli media saying that they confirmed the Unit S-13 of IDF Special Forces. So they're preparing to commit a war crime. And we need to stop that. We can still stop that. I'm convinced that if we mobilize enough, if we pressure enough the nation states, the governments, we can make such a pressure in the Zionist entity that cannot afford to attack us, to intercept us. We still have a chance to save this humanitarian aid, to preserve this boat, this mission, and ourselves. And we count on you right now. Please share this news. Please share to everyone. There's a lot at stake right now. We know that this mission has been very successful in raising awareness and hope, but we still have a concrete success that we really need to guarantee, which is to bring food to people who are being starved to death. We'll see you soon. We are together. A big hug. Let's transform this world.
And CNN did an interview with Greta Thunberg and another crew member a little bit later.
All those scenarios were included in our risk assessments that we have made prior to getting out on this mission. And of course, we know that it's a very risky mission, and we know that previous experiences with flotillas like this has resulted in attacks, interceptions, violence, and even cases of death. But of course, none of those risks are even remotely as high as to the risk that Palestinians are facing every day just by trying to survive. And right now, as you said, the mission is to get to Gaza to be able to deliver and distribute the humanitarian aid that we're carrying. but we are well aware of the risks going there. But we are aiming for that.
So you were talking, Greta, about the risk assessment and being prepared for any eventuality in any scenario. So let me ask you this. How far are you willing to go? Because we don't know what kind of confrontation you could face. We just know that you've been warned.
Yeah, and of course the uncertainties are very big here. We have gone out on this mission knowing the risks. But again, not saying anything in times of injustice, when we are facing genocide, to be silent is by far a bigger risk than getting on this mission. And we are preparing to respond in a non-violent way. We are 12 peaceful volunteers on this mission. We are not carrying weapons. We are carrying food, sanitary products, medical supplies, things that are necessary to get into Gaza that have been prevented by Israel from getting into Gaza. And we are sailing on international waters bringing humanitarian aid. If they stop this humanitarian aid, that is a crime. We are not doing anything wrong here. We are just doing our part to continue to try to break the siege on Gaza and to open up a humanitarian corridor.
That is using your platform for good. That is using your privilege to protect others. That is an incredible example of somebody really, literally, forget about putting their money where their mouth is, putting their life where their mouth is. And I'm not, calling anybody out who's an activist, who's not on that boat. We've said it. We would not be on that boat. That is, you're dealing with a psychopathic nation that is uniquely obsessed with its victimhood and is uniquely capable of justifying pretty much anything in the name of that vision of being a constantly set upon people surrounded by enemies. To get on that boat, you're really taking your life in your hands. And, there are others who are speaking out, not enough, but they're not on that boat, which again, I'm not criticizing them. I get it. But as Keaton said in a clip we recently dropped, in this house, you put honor on Greta Thunberg's name going forward because her life is really on the line here.
Yeah, she's forgetting one thing though, one pretty obvious thing, which is hello, it's Pride Month. No shout out to the LGBT community. Where's the pride flag on that flotilla?
That's the one critique I would make.
Yeah,
it's the one critique I would make, that they're not flying a rainbow flag. Right.
It's a slap in the face to the LGBT community to sail a humanitarian flotilla to Gaza during Pride Month and not mention it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is what's
disappointing.
Important here.
Disappointing.
Very,
really
very
upsetting.
disappointing.
In fact, the Israelis might let them in if they have the pride flag, because the Israelis, one of the things the Israelis don't like about Gaza is that they don't like gays there. So if they were bringing homosexuality to Gaza, they might let them through.
Although funny enough, in spite of what a lot of the misimpression a lot of people seem to have, you cannot in fact get gay married in Israel. Forget about gay married. You can't have an interfaith marriage in Israel. You cannot have any kind of marriage that is not approved by the rabbinate. So, for example, Keaton's marriage would not take place in Israel. What a lot of Israelis do is they go to Cyprus to get married, and then they come back and it's recognized in Israel. But you cannot, if you're like a Zionist Jew in an interfaith marriage, screaming about how gays, this is the only country that recognizes gays, it actually would not allow you to get married in that country, much less a gay couple in that country.
Can't wait to read the comment section and see all the people who didn't pick up that sarcasm. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Gotta find laughs where we can, folks. This is a heavy show.
Yes. All right. So the Freedom Flotilla tweeted this out. Israel's defense minister has once again threatened unlawful force against civilians, attempting to justify violence with baseless smears. We will not be intimidated. The Madeleine is a peaceful civilian vessel, unarmed and sailing in international waters with humanitarian aid and humanitarian rights defenders. This mission is independent, guided only by conscience and solidarity with Gaza. We are currently about 160 nautical miles from Gaza. Like I said before we went on, they were about 150 miles out. Earlier signal jamming briefly disrupted our location, but our tracker is functioning again. We remain calm and prepared in the face of possible Israeli aggression. We call on world governments to demand Israel stand down. It has no right to obstruct our mission or enforce its illegal and brutal blockade. Let's take another look at where they are. Oh, this won't, I see. All right. So far, so good. So this is the member of parliament, member of the EU parliament here on the boat putting out a statement. This is the last video of this beautiful crossing. As you know, the Israeli authorities have said they're going to intervene to intercept our boat. Everything will be decided in the next 24 hours. What you need to know is that the internet will be cut before this intervention. So we didn't realize how fast she was speaking. For this intervention, so we will not be able to communicate nor film this intervention, and our personal effects will be confiscated, whether it's our cameras or our phones. Afterwards, we will be brought to the port of Ashdod, and it will take 6 or 7 hours. During this time, we will be handcuffed and under surveillance of Israeli soldiers. Thank you. Once in Ashdod, we will most likely undergo interrogation and potentially a detention until being sent back to our countries of origin. I count on your mobilization despite the lack of communication direct from us on our different platforms or network. I believe that several protests are already organized to denounce this interception, to come in more broadly to continue to amplify the update and our voices to denounce the exactions of the Israeli regime in the Gaza Strip. Thank you very much. Okay, so surprisingly, from what you said, they didn't actually do that. When they intercepted the boat, I didn't think at that point they were going to, God forbid, blow them out of the water, given that they were putting out those videos. But I thought they were going to start this process that she's describing. I can only imagine maybe they were in a position where they couldn't get them off the boat without force. Maybe they tied themselves to the boat or chained themselves to the boat, and they got orders from on high. Listen, we just can't have that. So let them go for now. We'll see what they do. So this was something that was put out that is, according to the poster, the Israeli Navy conducting a training exercise off the coast of Ashdod on how to seize the ship Madeleine. But they were not the only ones out there hunting for the Madeleine. Israeli, looks like maybe 10-year-olds put out a video of their hunt for Greta Thunberg. The poster writes, "No way they got their indoctrinated children on a boat to go search for Greta Thunberg." Oh, yes, they did. Oh, yes, they did. Let's roll the tape.
Yeah, we blurred out the faces just because YouTube is sensitive about kids being in videos, but they published this video. They were very proud of it. They didn't blur their faces. We did just in case, because it's not like context or accuracy or truth matters on this platform.
Well, and the fact that they put this out is just one more example. And I think the longer this goes on, the more clear this becomes. These people are too deranged to understand how their propaganda plays to the world. Right. Like the things they think are going to be good for their cause are very often just insane. Yeah, I've mentioned this before. They seem to have stopped. My Facebook for months was inundated with teenage Israeli girls like working the pole in IDF uniforms at their barracks. Like, I don't know why they think that's a win.
Right. Yeah, this is in that category. This is like tweeting out child abuse to the world, because that's what this is. You're about to see. This is child abuse. This is brainwashing children to be hateful and violent.
We're looking for Greta's boat. We're the children of Israel. We're looking for Greta's boat. We have something to say to you all. Are you with me, guys? Yes! We're coming to get you. Woo! Children say the truth. Greta Thunberg, when you were a child, you wanted the good, not the evil. You wanted to protect the world. How come you suddenly became a supporter of terror? You talk about genocide. How can you not condemn the horrors of October 7th? If you want to provide food to the people of Gaza, I suggest you condemn Hamas, because the truth is that Hamas is taking all the food from the people of Gaza, not Israel. And what about the hostages? Are you going to give them any food? I invite you to meet me, and I will show you what the children of Israel are going through. I hope that you will wake up and understand that you are on the wrong side of history. You know children always say the truth, and I hope that you will see that.
Really?
Am Israel Chai.
This is like children of the figs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, this is what I mean. You know what? When we were on Bad Faith about a year ago, almost to the day, I told Brianna Joy Gray that, you know, Israelis have generational trauma, and she didn't quite understand what I meant. It was my fault for not clarifying, because she said, I'll show some grace to Jewish people of a certain age who actually survived the Holocaust. And that's not what I mean. I mean, they pass down the trauma of the Holocaust to the younger generation. So it's generational trauma. That's exactly what this is. These kids have no chance of not growing up to be like their parents, and very little chance that they will come to their senses and not raise their kids to be like them. The whole ethos of Israel is just a destructive processing of trauma, right? I mean, that's what this is. It's processing trauma in the most destructive and unhealthy way you possibly can. And that's evidence of it right there.
And just to put a button on it, Max tweeted out, somewhere in the Mediterranean, a Zionist Kinder-Nazi naval battalion is currently hunting for Greta Thunberg. And very much, I think, like the Hitler Youth, when the whole Nazi edifice they had been raised to believe was going to last for 1,000 years and that they were going to be placed high in the councils of, had to just go be regular schmucks in a world that despised Nazis and everything the Nazis stood for. That's going to be the trauma, I believe, of this generation of Israeli children, because I don't think they're going to grow up to living in Israel. Not in its current premises, not in its current form. This whole ethno-supremacist premise is crumbling under its own weight right before our eyes. And as we saw with the kids who were raised in the Hitler Youth, that's going to give them a lifetime of shit to process. They'll never really get out from under the psychological damage of living in a world that acknowledges all the people who raised you, the society you lived in, as deluded monsters.
Yeah, it's horrible. I mean, given the context of everything and the scale of the violence that's so one-sided, it's difficult to conjure up the emotion of pity. So I can't quite say I pity them, but it is horrible. I mean, that is
their children. They don't know
child abuse. They're children. They don't know. They don't know any better. They don't know anything. They don't know anything. To do that to a child is so horrible. It's so horrible. I do feel bad for them on some level.
Well, yeah. I mean, I feel bad for the Hitler Youth.
Right.
How do you like they were kids? What do you know? What do you know at that age? That's the whole point. Your brain is a sponge absorbing the signals your society is giving you about how to live within it. Their last report before we went on the air was that they were about 150 miles outside of Gaza, and they did indeed get intercepted. That broke right before we went on the air. We have some videos of that. This is the first one.
The IDF is here right now. Please sound the alarm. We are being surrounded by their boats. Yes, this is an interception. A war crime is happening right now. Please sound the alarm.
And here's the second.
They are intercepting our boats right now. Please stay alert. We have no weapons. We are no threat. We carry only humanitarian aid. We are 12 people on board. There are ships surrounding us right now. So please make sure to be loud. We again impose no threat. We have no weapons. We carry only humanitarian aid to a starving population. 2 million people. Lift the siege, end the blockade, stop the genocide now. Now, so that we don't have to do this. Demand your governments do this, so that we don't have to do this.
This is now footage of Greta Thunberg. She released this saying that if you are seeing this, it's because she has been detained and kidnapped by Israel. Let's take a look.
My name is Greta Thunberg and I am from Sweden. If you see this video, we have been intercepted and kidnapped in international waters by the Israeli occupational forces or forces that support Israel. I urge all my friends, family and comrades to put pressure on the Swedish government to release me and the others as soon as possible.
Okay, so they obviously, they made that video in anticipation of being detained, which is where they're at right now, and this looks like what they expected would happen.
Please clap.